My sister and I were both forced by our father to imbibe transmutation elixir at the same time, and my sister became a purely beautiful and easily fertile cat girl, while I became a seductive fox girl. After being transformed into a beast demon, my sister, who has an easily conceived body, was sent to the heirless emperor's harem, where she was killed by the concubines while she was pregnant. My delicate-minded sister was sent to moonlit pavilion, where I became the pet of the powerful and rich, and died in a green house after being humiliated. When I opened my eyes again, we went back to the day we were fed transmutation elixir. Sister held my hand. Let's change the potion. My sister has always been a talented and quick thinker, so she will definitely be able to survive in the bizarre harem. As for those smelly men, let me deal with them. I nodded. This life, it is our sister's turn to subvert the world. On the day my sister and I reached maturity, my father forcibly locked us into the family temple and took out 2 bottles of potion to force us to drink it. Mira, Luna, drink this bottle of transmutation elixir. My father's patience is limited. Don't force my father to get rough. After drinking it you will be able to transform into beast women and contribute to the clan. This is the last bit of contribution you can make to the clan as the most useless women. For the sake of father and your brother's future, drink it all up for me. Our family has a rule that on the day a woman in the clan comes of age, if she can grow into a special physique, she will be infused with elixir to transform into all kinds of beasts to trade for wealth for the family. The current emperor has a withered heir and has a strong desire for an heir. So if a well-pregnant catwoman can appear and give the emperor an heir, the clan will gain power from this. In our last life, we did not want to be animalized, and after being beaten, we were forced to take transmutation elixir. My sister became a cat girl who was born pregnant, and I became a fox girl who was born seductive. However, my sister's obstinate and tough nature is not suitable to be transformed into a soft cat girl to enter the palace as a consort, while I am naturally weak and sensitive. And am not suitable to be transformed into a bewitching fox girl to cater to so many men. Looking at the 2 bottles of transmutation elixir in my father's hand, my sister and I reached out and picked up the other's bottle from our previous lives without a second thought, and I knew that we had both been reborn. After drinking the potion, my sister and I immediately collapsed to the ground, as if we were tightly wrapped in 1,000 years of cold ice. Our limbs quickly stiffened, and the coldness pushed into our heart chakra. For a long time, a red and white smoke suddenly rose from the family temple tablet. A huge fire fox tail appeared behind my sister's back, and 2 pointed cat ears grew out of the top of my head. After my sister and I informed each other of all the details of our past lives, we were arranged by the family, and my sister entered moonlit pavilion while I entered the palace. The emperor named me Young Beauty and gave me a place to live in Celestial Palace. I knew that the emperor would come on the first night out of curiosity, so I had to prepare myself with care tonight. I took a rose petal bath, washed my whole body to make it white and smooth, changed into an exotic and sexy dress, and hung a beautiful and lovely bell around my neck. My figure had become much more curvaceous after my transformation into Catwoman. In my previous life, when I was a fox girl in moonlit pavilion, I was forced to practice harmony arts by the stewards inside, and although I became a cat girl after being reborn, nothing I once learned has disappeared. And the first time I served the bed was just the right time to put it to use. I believe that no man can refuse me such a cute and sexy in one Catwoman. That night the emperor came to my bedchamber, after seeing me eyes full of stunning. The exotic flavor of my body small short dress, perfectly show my now absolutely beautiful body outline. Head 2 cat ears will crinkle in the wind, but also with some tender and lovely. The emperor at this time has not care about the rules of bedtime, directly will pick me up in his arms. I am willing to accept good advice. Rubbed his slightly stubbled chin. His Majesty's breathing paused, and his eyes became naked and fiery when he looked at me. With a cold shiver, the emperor couldn't help but take a bite out of my cat's ear, and I let out a gasp of surprise. a pair of glazed, bead-like cat's eyes filled with adoration for him. I thought a good pregnant cat girl would be a boring nature. But after meeting you, I realized that you are actually a treasure. I wonder if you will disappoint me in terms of fertility. I took the initiative to remove the tool from my shoulders. And the emperor even breathed a few times more roughly. My concubine is also looking forward to it. In my last life, my sister was indifferent to the extreme. Even if the emperor was willing to take the initiative to lower his posture for the sake of his sister's catgirl status, my sister still has a non-soft and hard attitude. The emperor is after all the 9 to 5. Naturally he can't stand to have his face trampled underfoot. The emperor is not willing to step foot in the sister's palace again. The palace is best at seeing the wind rudder. Concubines if there is no emperor's favor. The day will be worse than ordinary lackeys. Although my sister does not want to compete for favor, and is dedicated to cultivation, but the physique of a well-pregnant catwoman makes her pregnant only once she serves the bed. The emperor is already close to the age of confusion. The harem has only a body with disabilities. The birth mother died early, the eldest prince, raised in the name of the empress who has nothing to produce. Sister pregnant. The emperor was overjoyed. Not only rewarded a lot of treasures, but also the sister as Mei Fei. Sister's nature is straightforward. The empress and the consort on the surface and sister called each other sister. Privately planted eyes. All the time do not want to kill sister. The empress sent people to add saffron to her sister's diet, and your highness ordered people to burn musk in the incense burner. The emperor only treats his sister as a fertility tool and does not care about her. Even if my sister is a good pregnancy catwoman, but also cannot resist being teamed up to assassinate, and finally died in the palace with a big belly. I do not have sisters strong. After entering the palace, the first task is to win the emperor's favor. I not only want to climb up step by step in the harem, I also want to bully my sister's people or torn to pieces. At this time, the emperor has been gradually into the good completely by my confusion. The heart of the apes bent over. Look immediately to break through the last line of defense. Outside the door came a woman's soft cry. The emperor was so angry that he threw a porcelain pillow over. Who is it? A palace maid named Celine walked in wearing a cool, shy face. Slave girl is the beauty palace bed companion palace maid Celine. Think Roan Beauty just entered the palace. Do not know the rules. Afraid of cold treatment of his highness. So bold to give the master a share of worry. I sneered. Stupid to send the door. No wonder this Celine from the daytime on I have no good face. The original is to want to fly on the branch into the phoenix. Before entering the palace, my sister told me that Celine is the most favored Lady Seraphina in the palace sent to share my favor. They all thought that a cat lady who specialized in pregnancy was bound to have a big belly and no interest, and could not serve the emperor well. In a previous life, my sister was beautiful, but she didn't care to please the emperor. Celine's arrival is equivalent to give the face of the emperor to find a step back, and even the emperor also in order to deliberately make sister jealous. In this room on the spot to favor the prepared Celine. Celine after the favor. Day after day to bully sister, deduct her food, and even in the sister's pregnancy is not allowed to send her hot water. In this life, she committed another offense into my hands. I naturally will not be merciful. I hugged His Majesty's waist tightly, a pair of seductive eyes flashing with brimming tears. Your Majesty. Celine also insulted my concubine during the day, saying that my concubine is a saltless country girl who is not worthy of serving your majesty at all, and told me to be sensible and give her the seat. I didn't think that she was going to come and snatch your majesty away straight away. Oh! Celine's pupils dilated. Her small face turned pale in a flash. Slave girl didn't say that. Slave girl is wrongly accused. Roan Beauty. Slave girl has no grievances or enmity against you. Why do you want to put slave girl to death? Your majesty is clear about it. Celine was so scared that she lost her soul. kept kowtowing and begging for mercy, and soon blood seeped out of her forehead. I pretended to be scared and hid in the emperor's chest and cried in a low voice. Like me, such a weak and unable to take care of myself as a kitten, where would I have the bad intention of framing others? The emperor was provoked by my desire cannot be relieved, already fire is hot. In front of this Celine and charming and attractive compared to my posture is ordinary, but also arrogant and stupid, the emperor can no longer hold down the killing heart. Dragged down, beat to death with a messy stick. Looking at Celine, who was glaring at me in death, a sense of pleasure rose in my heart. I won't spare anyone who bullied my sister in my past life. After one night, the emperor was satisfied and his dragon's heart was pleased. After that, for 7 days in a row, the emperor seems to know the taste. Night and night all turn my card to serve the bed, but also licensed me do not have to go to the queen's palace to ask for peace. Celine died a tragic death. The people only know seemingly weak my means of ruthless. No courtesans dare to jump in front of me. I first entered the palace low status. Cannot bring their own maids. The Ministry of Internal Affairs assigned me 4 close to the big palace maids' weight. In addition to the executed Celine, who was a member of the noble consort staff, Ivy, who was sent by the Empress, and Frost, who was Dowager Matriarch's informant. They were all lackeys who had betrayed and framed their sister. Only Amber was sent to me as a new concubine because she is not good at flattering people. Although Amber is quiet, but she is loyal and protective of her master, and died tragically in her last life to protect her sister. I promoted Amber to be my palace's head courtesan, stayed in the inner palace close service. The rest of the people are arranged the most tired and hardest rough work. I keenly caught the flashes of resentment and jealousy in their eyes. It seems that they were still too kind to them, except for Amber. Everyone had to scrub the 1,326 floor tiles of my palace 6 times a day. All of them were so tired that they barely had time to ventilate their own masters. On the 9th day in the palace, I offered to give the palace maids a vacation so that they could go to the imperial garden for a stroll. The palace maids quickly disappeared, and Amber came back to report that the imperial garden was actually empty. I knew that they had tipped off their masters, but they didn't know that I had done it on purpose. The cycle of pregnancy to labor for ordinary house cats only takes 2 months, and the speed of a good pregnant cat girl is even faster. I touched imperial air in my stomach and laughed softly. There are many enemies in the palace, and am not strong enough to keep this pregnancy. But no would have to be worthwhile. I pick up a cup of tea and quietly contemplate who the first person to bump up against is when Lady Seraphina suddenly barges in with a scowl on her face. With a sneer, she snatched the teacup out of my hand and slammed it to the floor, before tugging on my cat ears and dragging me to the ground. Bitch with no fur, half-born orc, how dare you fox the emperor and kill Celine? You seek death. She's my old family cousin. I covered my head and let out a cold laugh. So they are relatives. No wonder they can be so stupid. No wonder I saw that Celine is a bit old. So it turns out that she's actually the sister of your highness. I'm not even a hairy commodity, but the emperor likes it so much. It seems that it won't work if Lady Seraphina wants to serve the emperor with her old man flavor. Lady Seraphina was directly broken by my words. Instantly red warm. The wall is on the horse to look at each other remotely. Once I see know the king that is broken heart. This palace and his majesty knew each other when they were young, and their 2 hearts were deeply in love with each other. You are just relying on the freshness to be favored by the emperor a few more times. So you dare to bully me like this? I have to kill you today. Noble consort's hands wearing sharp gauntlets viciously pinched my neck. I was so scared that I transformed into a cat-beast body and ran to the beams of the room with a flexible posture. Meowing meow meow. You can't hit it. A long way to see the glazed window outside, a bright yellow figure approaching. I immediately issued the most dismal screams, counted the time to jump down. Just fell into the arms of the emperor. Looking at my poor frightened me in his arms, the emperor angrily glared at Lady Seraphina. I have always loved you the most. You are as light as a chrysanthemum. Do not make trouble with concubines. Luna is just a simple and weak catwoman. I like her. Why do you come to find her trouble? Lady Seraphina has always prided herself on her special bond with the Emperor. Now that she was slapped in the face by the Emperor with such a strong attitude in front of me, Lady Seraphina cried in aggravation. Your Majesty, my concubine was wronged. It was Rome Beauty who indiscriminately killed her palace maid. That's Celine. And I have some blood relatives. The Emperor had forgotten which Celine is. After your consort reminded only then remembered. That's not Luna's fault. It's me who wants to kill her. Since it's your relative, you don't stay properly in your own palace. What do you put it here in Luna? Lady Seraphina can't argue. She doesn't argue, I argue. I transformed into a human body, showing off my pinched red and swollen cat ears and neck with pinch marks to my heart's content, crying and complaining to His Majesty. Your Highness is so horrible. She is jealous that you favor Luna. Not only does she use all the torture to torment Luna, but she also wants to kill Luna with her own hands, saying that His Majesty will never be able to find my dead body again. Luna is really so scared. Whoopee. The Emperor was furious and ordered Lady Seraphina to be slapped 20 times. Lady Seraphina was shocked and panicked as she was always in the heart of the Holy Spirit. Your Majesty, how can you listen to the words of Rome Beauty? Ah. The Emperor looked at her coldly. Luna's face is clearly wounded. Could she still beat herself? The facts are in front of me. How can I not believe them? The palace people informed that the Empress had also come. My heart was overjoyed. While the harm your consort did to my sister was still on the surface, the Empress was a true Buddha's mouth and snake's heart, cajoling my simple sister into trusting her, and in the end causing my sister to lose hope and die a horrible death. She now also took the initiative to send to the door. A fish is boiled. 2 fish is also stewed. Although the queen is old, but well maintained, at this time she is exquisitely made up. I think is received the news of the eyes. Presumptuous fishing to come. The Emperor rests his anger. The palace sisters are all bent on the Emperor will be some misunderstanding. Lady Seraphina's temperament we are clear. A moment of anger is there, but never so serious. Rome may renew to the palace. The age is small. Think of the fear of the time will always exaggerate a sentence or two, and turned his head to look at me. A look of knowing big sister. The Emperor is favor you. You cannot live up to the Emperor's favorite. Today if because of your exaggeration caused Lady Seraphina and the Emperor away from the heart. But it's not you. The Emperor is a day-to-day. We do the consort to be more considerate is. This piece of spirit charm as I look for high monk open light. You have to wear it day by day. Collect up the bad thoughts in your heart. The Empress' word seemed fair and just, but in reality, every word was accusing me of bluffing. The Emperor looked at the Empress with a relieved face. Worthy of being my virtuous Empress. It is my good fortune to have you in the harem. When he looked at me again, his face carried a hint of dissatisfaction because of the Empress as a comparison. I took it all in stride and didn't exchange a glance with the Emperor. Instead, I happily took the spirit charm from the Empress and immediately wore it around my neck to offer it to the Emperor. Empress is so nice. This spirit charm is so beautiful. I love it. I'm going to give Empress a gift too. The Emperor froze slightly as he looked at me in a state of innocence. Perhaps he was overthinking it. After all, I'm a cat girl. It's only natural for me to be a bit more simple-minded. I kept stroking that spirit charm, and even pretended to be curious and stuck out my tongue for a taste. Is this coated with something? It smells sweet. When the Empress heard my words, her face sank and she tried to reach out and snatch spirit charm back again. You must not be unreasonable. I secretly sneered in my heart and fell straight to the ground screaming in misery. It hurts. My stomach. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air, and a large amount of blood flowed out from the bare and clean floor tiles underneath me. No one would have thought that I would be pregnant with imperial heir after only a few days in the palace. Lady Seraphina, who had just been spared her punishment, was the first to jump out and taunt me. The Empress was kind enough to give you a gift. And what are you pretending for? How can you be pregnant when you've only been in the palace for a few days? Emperor, search her. She must have hidden a blood bag on her body. Holding it back to try and frame someone, the Empress blanched and forced herself to be calm. There was indeed something wrong with the spirit charm she sent. It was coated with a layer of precious redding musk that could make a woman bleed after pregnancy. I am a good pregnant cat lady. If I can really give birth to a royal son, then the disabled grand prince in her name will have no hope of succeeding the throne. The Empress has no bottom in her heart, but she would rather be wrongly killed than spared, and opened her mouth. Roan Myron's mind is too deep. And the Catwoman is not of my race. Your Majesty, for the sake of the peace and quiet of the harem, my concubine requests that your Majesty take the big picture into consideration and execute Roan Myron. The Emperor stared at me with a hard look on his face. Now is the time when he is addicted to my body. How can he kill me? After agonizing for a while, the Emperor opened his mouth. There is something waiting for the imperial physician to be declared to come and see before saying it. After checking my pulse, the eunuch was surprised, and could not open his mouth for half a day. The Emperor finally made up his mind, opened his mouth. It seems that Roan beauty is fake pregnancy to compete for favor, but also want to frame the Empress. Take away the position of beauty, secluded in the palace. The imperial doctor hurriedly confessed. Your Majesty. There. Beauty Roan did not fake pregnancy. She is really pregnant. Lady Seraphina's face lost its color, and the Empress even collapsed to the ground. Impossible. She dares to confuse the royal bloodline and bring a wild seed from outside into the palace. The Emperor shook his head. Impossible. Luna is a virgin. I know it clearly. But how could she get pregnant so quickly? The imperial doctor explained. The fastest time for a cat to give birth is only 2 months. It's normal for the Empress to be a cat lady and different from humans. However, this pregnancy of the beauty Empress has just been lost. The Emperor was first overjoyed, and then greatly saddened. What? Roan Bowtie's fetus. Why would it fall? The eunuch observed a circle of my palace and locked the spirit charm on my neck. Can the Empress let the micro-minister check? The imperial doctor snapped the edge of spirit charm and placed it under his nose. His eyes widened angrily. That's right. That's it. This spirit charm exotic fragrance. The top is a layer of sandalwood. The bottom hides a carefully formulated musk. The power is more fierce and more rapid. And the queen's cat's ear and neck have injuries. And then touch the spirit charm. Not only the fetus in the abdomen is not guaranteed, the long-term wear will also lead to infertility. The Emperor was furious and kicked the Empress hard in the heart. How dare you still have such an evil mind? How do you deserve to be my Empress? The Empress covered her heart and cried out. I don't know what's going on. Someone must have falsely accused me. The Emperor laughed coldly. Then tell me, who could have done such a thing as plagiarizing and exterminating a family without God knowing it? The Empress raised her hand and pointed to Ivy, who had been watching my good show from the side. It's her. She secretly went through my jewelry box in my palace a few days ago. I let her off in a moment of weakness. I didn't expect her to move in my spirit charm on that day, and even let Roan Myron block the disaster for me. Ivy was shocked. Your Highness, the slave girl is loyal to you. The Empress immediately had Ivy gagged and taken out to be caned. Sister had said that Ivy was the Empress' right-hand man who had secretly poisoned her, and that her death was not unjust. The Emperor saw that he had found a person, did not want to continue to investigate deeply, opened his mouth. Lady Seraphina. Lynching. Slap the mouth of 20. Take away the title of noble consort. Downgraded to a grand consort. Empress. Conniving underlings. Copying scripture 10 volumes. Grounded for 3 months. Then punished. A man's voice suddenly came from outside the door. Father. This matter has nothing to do with mother. My heart plummeted, and sweaty hairs exploded all over my body. The man who came was none other than the emperor's only son, Prince Cedric. He had a limp on his right foot, but because the emperor had only had him as a son for so many years and was valued, he was raised in the name of the childless empress after the death of his birth mother. He was the only son of the emperor, Prince Cedric. And in my last life, he was my benefactor at Moonlit Pavilion. Because of his physical handicap and lack of love in his childhood, Li Sunjian had an extreme personality and a sadistic habit. Every time, he would use a red-hot branding iron to burn my furry foxtail. Later, when he was made the crown prince, he lost his hand in a moment of excitement and actually burned me alive. However, I calmed down and looked at the Grand Prince again before realizing that the Grand Prince's face was obscure, and his body was shrouded in a layer of red demonic mist that only I could see. Sister has practiced essence weaving, which can take away a man's chi, and in the long run can control a man's every move. It seems that the Grand Prince has already been shallowly absorbed by his sister. The Emperor saw the arrival of the eldest prince. His face had a few more smiles, although the eldest prince had a crippled body and dangling ears. But after all, he was the only imperial heir under the Emperor's name, and also the future heir to the throne. Rune is here. Your mother's imperiousness should be punished. I have already looked at your face to be lenient. Let's do it this way. Exempt her from being grounded. After all, it is your crown prince ceremony right away, and you still need your mother's wife to run around for you. Li Chenjian's eyes are bright, busy with the empress to thank the grace. Thank you, Father Emperor. But the beast woman is ultimately just a plaything. Father Emperor must not be moved for the sake of a small catwoman. Excessive pampering can only make the catwoman even more wanton. And in the future there is a possibility of wreaking havoc on the dynasty. The Emperor's face was not worried. I know what to do. Roan Beauty is simple-minded. Different from the ordinary beast girl. Only then did the Grand Prince put his attention on me. He looked like a bloodthirsty beast. His eyes suddenly lit up. This was the expression on his face when he brutalized me in his last life. I hid behind the Emperor and put on a scared look. Your Majesty, why is the eldest prince always staring at my concubine? That gaze makes me uncomfortable. Noticing the eldest prince's abnormality, the Emperor coldly grunted in displeasure. The harem is filled with father's concubines. You are about to become the crown prince. You still need to know how to avoid suspicion. In the future, you must not come without a pass. Only then did the eldest prince collect himself for a few moments and responded. I touched my own stomach. Want to be the crown prince? I'm afraid I don't have this chance. I quickly recuperate my body. The Emperor is busy preparing for the big prince to establish the matter of the crown prince. In my palace only stayed a few nights. No one could have imagined that after one miscarriage, I would quickly become pregnant with the next litter. Dowager Matriarch learned of my miscarriage, and nearly caused the Emperor and the Grand Prince to turn against each other as father and son. He called me to the Buddha hall, kneeling day after day to copy the Buddhist scriptures, to atone for his failure to preserve the royal heir. This old pious woman means cruel, only heart only heir. Treat the only grandchildren of the eldest son than the Emperor are pro. In the future, if she knows that I am pregnant with imperial heir again, she will regret it. Frost was entrusted by Dowager Matriarch to supervise me from the side. And all the watermelons sent by the Emperor were eaten clean by her. Frost was entrusted by Dowager Matriarch to supervise me from the side. And all the watermelons sent by the Emperor were eaten clean by her. Roan Beauty, if you can't finish copying the scriptures, I'm afraid Dowager Matriarch will be angry. You won't have the blessing to eat such rare fruits. You are also uneducated. The Empress and the Crown Prince you dare to offend. In the future when the Crown Prince ascends to the throne, I'm afraid that you don't even have the skin of the melon to eat. Frost. On the basis of the face in front of Dowager Matriarch, wearing my clothes, wearing my jewelry, sitting in front of my dresser. thinking of waiting for myself to be pointed out by Dowager Matriarch to the Emperor to become a favorite concubine. Laughed out loud. On the day that the Crown Prince became the Crown Prince, I purposely dressed in white and took Amber and Frost, who was not dressed like a palace maid, to the Great Hall. Everyone saw me and avoided me. The Empress and the Sun Consort were sitting next to the Emperor, and all of them looked unkind when they saw me. The Grand Prince turned around and just glanced at me, and then like a madman, he walked straight towards me, ignoring the Emperor who was talking to him. I felt that the fox demon aura on the Grand Prince's body was already red and purple, so it seemed that my sister was already able to control him completely. The big prince's abnormality attracted the attention of everyone in the room, and he pressed my head dead center about to kiss down. I broke away from the Grand Prince's confinement and let out a scream before collapsing backwards onto the ground. Blood. Beauty Rong has seen blood. The Emperor kicked away the already maniacal Grand Imperial Prince and carried me into his arms. Sinful beast. Really coveting my woman, Luna. How are you? The ministers present were talking. Why is Beauty Rong bleeding from her lower body? Could it be that she's pregnant again? Dowager Matriarch helped the Grand Emperor up and looked at me with a look of disgust. Emperor. It must be this demoness who deliberately seduced my grandson. Don't kill her yet. The Grand Prince suddenly stormed up and kissed Dowager Matriarch in the face. Agu. Quickly pull him away. The Grand Prince is crazy. Now no one said Dowager Matriarch seduced the Grand Prince. The Emperor directly asked the guards to tie up the Grand Prince. I weakly grabbed the Emperor's sleeve. Emperor. Save our child. This time we must save our child. After all, the Emperor was someone who had experienced once seeing with his own eyes that the fetus in my belly was not preserved, and immediately declared the eunuchs to come and check my pulse. Dowager Matriarch straightened up his torn clothes, and pushed Frost, who was by my side, in between me and the Emperor. Your Majesty. I have already shown you one that is 100 times better than this cat girl. Frost is pure in nature. You accept her. More than that, what beast girl to make me feel at ease. Frost red-faced to the Emperor salute. The Emperor was concerned about my body, and only nodded his head faintly. After the Imperial doctor took my pulse, he excitedly returned. Beauty Rong. Pregnant again. The Emperor was afraid of another sorrowful pregnancy and asked, Did you keep the fetus this time? The Imperial doctor nodded. Your Majesty. Don't worry. The fetuses are all fine. Dowager Matriarch didn't care about his distaste for me and squeezed his way to the front. What? Each and every one. Does it mean that there's more than one in Beauty Rong's belly? The eunuch said that there were at least 3. The Emperor hugged me and laughed heartily. I have a child. Luna. I'm going to make you concubine Rong, and if you can give birth to a prince in the future, they'll let you be the noble consort and empress. The Empress on the side had an ugly face. The Emperor only had time to notice the pouty Frost at this moment, only to see that I was haggard and plainly dressed. But Frost was in full regalia. Without any concern for me, he directly kicked her to the ground. Dirty slave. What you are wearing is the fabric that I gave to Luna, right? You don't serve your master properly. Instead you rob your master's things. Mother. Is this what you call pure conscience? Amber, who has been silent all this time, advanced at this time. Back to the Emperor. Frost is just pretending to be pure and good to deceive Dowager Matriarch, relying on the master's soft heart. She has not trampled on the beauty queen. Those who don't know it would still think that Frost is the Emperor's woman. Dowager Matriarch's attitude at this time also changed. Good you Frost. Dare to bully to my imperial grandson's head. Diao slave wrong me should be killed. In the last life, my sister was not allowed to be favored by the Emperor. The Emperor accepted Frost, who was chosen by Dowager Matriarch, and Frost pressed on my sister's head and became the real master. But in this life, she will not get her way again. Frost was ordered by Dowager Matriarch to drag down and beat him to death with a stick. The Emperor remembered the eldest prince who had gone mad for no reason, and asked the eunuchs to take the pulse of the eldest prince. Several eunuchs take turns checking it and get the same result. His Highness overindulged and was controlled by lust. Now he's like a beast in heat. He can't help himself when he sees a woman. The emperor was so angry that he immediately wanted to take away the great prince's status as a prince, relegate him to the status of a commoner, and put him in the heavenly prison. The empress immediately stepped forward to stop it. Emperor can't. Run heir is your eldest son. Under my name. He is the first son. Give him another chance. These quacks can't cure him. Just kill a batch of eunuchs and then choose a new one. He can definitely be cured. The emperor has long been tired of the disabled and unmotivated grand prince. Now that I am pregnant, naturally I do not want to look at him again. The empress suddenly shouted. The eldest prince is innocent. The first know that there is a green house called Moonlit Pavilion, and the eldest prince is being brought down. Your Majesty, please arrest the real culprit who framed the grand prince. I was shocked in my heart. It seems that the empress knew that the eldest prince went to Moonlit Pavilion, but never stopped him. Who would have thought that now the grand prince has become like this? Sister's side is not clear what the situation is. Worried that my sister will be caught unprepared, I immediately pretended that the fetus in my stomach is not stable. The emperor is only concerned about the dragon fetus in my belly, and has no time to listen to what the empress is saying. After ordering the eldest prince to be put in the heavenly prison, the emperor carried me back to his chambers. I secretly sent Amber out of the palace to give my sister an advance message, telling her to make plans early. When Amber left, she asked, "Does your highness need to take a token?" The slave girl is afraid that people won't believe me. I smiled. Go boldly. She will understand when she sees you. That night, as the emperor remembered to search Moonlit Pavilion, Moonlit Pavilion suddenly burst into flames and surprisingly none of the people inside escaped alive. Overnight, the place Moonlit Pavilion ceased to exist. Only a few torches engraved with the queen's family crest were found on the original site. The emperor was furious, thinking that the empress was deliberately killing for the grand prince, and put the empress mother's family into a large prison to be tortured, and punished the empress with a 1-year grounding. I leaned against the emperor and touched my growing belly and opened my mouth. Your Majesty, I want to see my family when I give birth to my first child, and I have a fellow sister who was raised in the countryside, and I would like her to come into the palace to stay with me until I give birth. The emperor agreed with alacrity. Seeing her sister once more, she had actually cultivated from 1 tail to 9 tails. However, when I thought of the difficult pain that my sister could possibly face, I was still heartbroken and wanted to shed tears. Sister, on the contrary, laughed cheerfully. Luckily, you informed me in advance, and I've already utilized Moonlit Pavilion to almost the fullest extent. Don't worry. There isn't a single smelly man in this life who can toy with me. Every time I've sucked the vital energy from them, and because of that, am getting stronger and stronger. Sister's essence weaving, which she had started practicing in her last life, was able to draw in the chi of more dignitaries in this life after switching to a fox's seductive physique. Those dignitaries wanted to use Sister's body as a furnace, but instead they all became consumables for Sister's advancement. After giving birth to the 9 tails, Sister had become so powerful that she could manipulate the fox chi to attach to believers, interfering with their minds and manipulating their bodies. Last time, the Grand Prince's sudden seizure was designed by Sister. Speaking of the Grand Prince, Sister smiled contemptuously. In the last life, he caused you to die a horrible death. In this life, Elder Sister has already put fox poison on him. This hour happens to be the time of the attack. Do you want to go and take a look? I went to the heavenly prison with my sister. Li Qingrun, without the identity of the prince, wearing ordinary prison clothes, covered with strange itch, has scratched his face. When he saw me, his eyes flowed with fear. It's you. It's you who harmed me. I'm the crown prince. I'm the future emperor. I'm the only son of my father. You're just a beast girl. How can you be worthy of coloring the human kingdom? I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Today you're going to die at the hands of a beast girl, and the fetus in my belly has already taken your place. This kingdom and mountain belongs to our sisters. After saying that, I took out a dagger and ruthlessly stabbed into the heart of the Grand Emperor. My sister then set off a crimson blaze, and the body of the Grand Prince turned into ashes in an instant. Back in the chambers, my sister and I had just sat down when we realized something was wrong. The incense burner was changed to a strange incense. Suddenly my stomach began to ache violently, and there was amniotic fluid flowing out of my lower body. It's a labor-inducing incense. The Empress walked out from the inner hall at this time. Concubine Rong, you have harmed my eldest prince, so take your son to compensate me. I will do it again to go to the mother and keep the son. The Emperor's child can only have me as a mother. I will be the only dowager matriarch in the future. The Empress thought she had it all figured out, but when she saw her sister, she let out a cackle of fear from her throat. Her sister directly manifested a firefox body, with 9 huge tails wagging behind her. The queen realized something was wrong and desperately wanted to escape, but she couldn't escape the range of her sister's tails. I held my stomach and ran to the back room and woke up Amber, who was dazed, and told her to go and call the Emperor. The queen wants to murder the heir. Seeing the stunned Amber, sister laughed softly, pulled out one of her tails and sent Amber to the gate. The Emperor brought the entire Imperial Hospital's doctors to deliver me, and when he pushed open the door, he saw that 4 well-behaved little emperors were already lying in my arms. My sister returned to her humanoid form and opened her arms to protect me and the little imperial sons. And the Empress was a demented image, clutching a dagger tightly in her hand, her mouth shouting, "Kill you! Kill you!" The Emperor was furious and ordered the Queen to be arrested, taken away from the throne and immediately executed. I became the new queen of the dynasty and my child became the crown prince. When the Emperor was planning to reward his sister for her merit in protecting the heir, he suddenly got a good look at her. "Would you like to be my woman? You are Luna's sister. I will give you supreme honor, give you an honorable position and enjoy endless glory." Sister looked at me lying on the bed and spoke, "You will give me whatever I want." The Emperor was so charmed by Sister's powerful fox lady powers that he would only nod his head in agreement. Sister became the Emperor's favorite concubine, and the world thought that the Emperor had fallen in love with Sister's beauty, and everyone would scold her for being a fox charming girl. What my sister wanted was the Emperor's world, and then after controlling the Emperor's mind, my sister coaxed the Emperor to make an edict to pass on to our sisters. Sun Fei wanted to take advantage of my pregnancy inconvenience to serve bed to share my favor. But was sister preempted the Emperor's favor. Unable to cope with her anger, she directly barged into the Emperor's chambers, just in time to meet her sister disguised as a 9-tailed fox, sucking the last trace of the dragon's chi from the Emperor's body. "Princess Sun is here. It's just the right time to come. You can be a companion to the Emperor on the road to the Yellow Springs." Concubine Sun's eyes widened in horror, and before she even had time to say another word, she was directly whipped to death by her sister with her tail. The Emperor was drained of his dragon's chi, and with only his last breath of air hanging in his bed, he asked me and my sister if we had ever truly loved him or not. He would not remember his last life. How cruel he treated his sister who turned into a cat lady. Sister was victimized by the Empress and noble consort to the point of hemorrhage. The Emperor just disliked the heavy smell of blood and had her body thrown to the veterinary garden to feed the tigers. Sister and I looked at each other. We saw determination in each other's eyes. Sister sucked the last breath out of the Emperor's body, and the Emperor died. According to the late Emperor's last decree, the Crown Prince is still young, so that my sister and I jointly serve as the Empress, and then return to the dynasty when the Crown Prince grows up and becomes a man. Anyone who disliked the fact that we were women would die a violent death that night. No one in the court dared to object anymore. When father got the news, he entered the palace and scolded us for being unfilial. "You are but women. What's it like to occupy the throne? Why don't you abdicate the throne to dad and have your brother be the crown prince? It's also considered that the family didn't train you in vain." My sister and I both laughed at this. The two empresses jointly ordered that all the men of father's family who had sucked the flesh and blood of their sister's daughters be purified and sent to guard the ancestral crypts. As for father, who started it all, of course, he was allowed to have a good taste of transmutation elixir. The father watched in horror as Sister Nine-Tailed Fox forced the potion down his throat, and saw himself become a pigman. Nearby neighboring countries that wanted to take advantage of the opportunity to rebel all had to come to court year after year under my sister and his thunderous tactics. My sister and I utilized the beast girl's supernatural ability to take care of the country and became the double-born female empress praised by everyone. After the crown prince grew up, my sister and I handed over the Sea Peace and River River and Mountain to him, and we partnered up to go on adventures in the folklore. As a result of doing more and more good deeds, Celestial Matron descended to Earth and personally nudged us into existence. My sister and I took on the body of an orc and ranked among the immortals.